Okay, so I'm now joined by one of Matlock Town's summer signings, and it is goalkeeper Jim Pollard. Jim, thanks for coming on to the show tonight.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. So, well, first of all, Jim, was it an easy decision for you to come to Matlock Town in the MPL Premier Division?
Yeah, it was definitely a no-brainer. Obviously, when the gaffer rang me, we spoke a lot about football, and seeing how well the club did last year, I just felt like it was the best place for me to play my football this season. Well, this coming season, shall I say.
Yeah, and will it because Paul Phillips, new manager, the new manager at Matlock Town, he was a goalkeeper himself when he was a player. Do you think that could benefit you having the gaffer as a former goalkeeper himself, so he knows everything there is about being between the sticks?
Yeah, 100%. He obviously understands the position because it is quite a unique position, and if he's played there himself, then he'll understand the positive side of it and also the negative side of it. So I think, yeah, that will be interesting because I've never actually had a manager who's been a goalkeeper, but this will be the first time doing it. But yeah, I think he'll understand if anything goes wrong, and I think he'll have already potentially lived the highs that I might be going through when I play for Matlock. So yeah, I think it'll work really well.
Now, I'm going to guess that shot stopping is obviously one of your main strengths on the pitch, but just for any Matlock fans that might not have seen you play before, what are your other strengths that you bring to you on the pitch?
Very aggressive. I like to come out and demand my box and catch crosses. I like to have a high starting position, sweeping up. And my distribution, I feel, is something that I look to play quick as often as I can. Obviously, I don't know the formation that Matlock play because we haven't really even started training yet. But for example, catching crosses or the ball coming back to me, I want to get rid of it as quick as I can and get us on and attack the other end of the field. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, good stuff. I know for a fact that Paul Phillips likes his keepers to be pretty loud and aggressive. So you definitely tick those boxes already there. So how tough was last season for you? Because you were at Grantham Town in the 2021-22 season. Obviously, for the club as a whole, it was a rough one, and they ended up getting relegated down into MPL Division 1. But obviously for yourself, you certainly impressed a lot of people. But how tough was it for last season when you were at a club that was struggling and in the end ended up getting relegated?
Yeah, it was a really tough season. It was a bit of a roller coaster of emotions because first coming in, I'd obviously jumped 2 leagues because the team before Grantham, I was at Maltby Main, which is in the northeast counties. So it was that adrenaline feeling of playing 2 steps above, working under Carlton Palmer and Kevin Pressman as my goalie coach, and the adrenaline of sort of hitting the ground running. We obviously won at Radcliffe on the open day, 2-1, and the changing room was absolutely bouncing. But I just think over the course of the season, we just never really got going consistently over periods of time. So we'd be brilliant for 2 or 3 weeks, and then we'd go and lose 5 games on the bounce. And it was a very turbulent season for the football clubs. A lot of coming and goings regarding players and managers and backroom staff. But we did finish the season relatively strong, obviously beating South Shields on the final day. And I think positive things will come back to Grantham. They just need to make sure that they get things right this summer in their recruitment. And hopefully they can have a decent season getting promoted back up into the Premier Division.
You mentioned 2 sort of 90s Premier League legends there. You mentioned Carlton Palmer, of course, who was the manager of Grantham for the first half of last season. But I forgot actually that Kevin Pressman was also involved in the club, of course, legendary Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper. What was it like working under him?
Yeah, it was brilliant. We built a really good relationship over the course of the season. And towards the end, he didn't feel like a coach as much. It felt more like it was someone I could really speak to on a personal level, not just about football things, but, problems in life. I'd ring him up and speak to him about my car. Like, I remember one time my car packed in and I rang him up and he just told me what it was straight away, sorted it out. Little things like that. He really went out of his way to help me on and off the pitch. And he was great for me. I will miss working with Kevin because he really did have my back at some difficult times last season. But also told me off when he felt that I needed telling off, which I think is when you have that sort of understanding and relationship where you can take praise but also take criticism from one another, I think it's just the recipe for success. I know, like you say, the club did get relegated, but on a personal level, I felt my development continued, and obviously that's the reason why I think Matlock Town have decided to sign me this summer as their goalkeeper.
Yeah, and of course, last season was obviously didn't end with a trophy in the end for Matlock, but it was a bit of a breakthrough season for the Gladiators because they had a number of seasons where they either were just sort of mid-table mediocrity or flirting with a relegation battle. But this time around, they were actually top of the league for about 2 to 3 months and ended up reaching the playoff semis. For this up-and-coming season, is the aim certainly to be in the promotion mix once again?
Oh, 100%. When I've spoke to the gaffer, we've had numerous conversations about where we both want to go regarding the club, and promotion is the main aim. You look at Buxton last season, like you say, Buxton were living in Matlock's shadow for 80% of the season, but maybe it was just that consistency that got them over the line in the end. And I think if we can emulate that and not have dips in form and be consistent throughout, then there's no reason why this club can't go and do what Buxton have done and get into the Conference North.
Okay, and just finally then, normally when I do player interviews, especially when it's sort of before the season starts, I'm usually asking them for personal targets, and it's usually like how many goals that they're planning to get. But it's the first time, I think, for a long, long time I've done a goalkeeper interview. So do you sort of have a personal target of how many clean sheets you want to get, or is there any other targets that you want to get on a personal level rather than a team one?
I think naturally you do look at clean sheets and, you might say 10, 15, 20. I think the gaffer told me something last year, they got 21, was it? Clean sheets?
Yeah, there were quite a few 0-0s towards the end. So, in the final third, there were problems, but in the back line, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. He was like, no pressure. But obviously, clean sheets are what you aim for because you work in the week, training twice, and obviously off doing away from football, you work hard. But as long as the team's winning and I'm contributing to that performance and playing my part in a promotion challenge, then, clean sheets are what we aim for. But if they don't come, but we do well, it's not the be all and end all. My aim on a personal level is to get this club promoted and to play my part as much as I can. That's my aim, and obviously continue to develop and play games. I'm only 23. I know probably a few people have questioned this move, or people have spoke about, whether I'm up to it, but I just want to get my head down and let my football do the talking and prove to people why this football club have signed me and take this football club where it wants to go. Okay.
Yeah, great stuff, Jim. Well, thanks for your time and for your insights into joining Matlock Town. And I know that every Gladiators fan will be really keen to see how you start for the club, and wish you all the best. So thanks for your time, and we'll see you on the pitch very soon.
No worries. Thank you very much, mate.